Question 18 tells us that secant theta equals -2 and sine theta is less than 0. And then it asks us to find all trig functions for the angle theta. So I'm going to start out by just rewriting what each of the trig functions is corresponding to x, y, and r. So sine theta equals y over r, cos theta equals x over r, tan theta equals y over x, cosecant theta equals 1 over sine theta, or r over y, secant theta equals 1 over cos theta, or r over x, and cotangent theta equals 1 over tangent theta, or x over y. Okay, and then what we want to find is, for our angle theta, sine, cos, tan theta, cosecant, secant theta, and cotangent theta. So secant theta, we've already been told, is -2, so we have that one done. But let's figure out the rest of these based on what we know up here. So the easiest one to start with is cos theta, because we know that secant theta is the reciprocal of cos theta. So that means that cos theta is also the reciprocal for 1 over secant theta. So plugging in -2 for secant theta, you get -1 over 2 for cos theta. So I'm going to write that in here. And now what we can do is start to draw which triangle this corresponds to, and that's going to make it easier to visualize these ratios. So what we have is, since in cos theta what we have is a negative number, and we know that r, or the number on the bottom, our radius, is always positive because it's just the length of the radius. That means that x, the number on top, -1, has to be negative. So we have a -1 for x, which means that in our coordinate plane, we are on either this quadrant or this quadrant, where x is negative, so not over here. To figure out which side we're in, we need to know whether sine theta is positive or negative, because if sine theta is positive, y is positive, and we're up here. Sine theta is negative, y is negative, and we're down here. And we've been told that sine theta is less than 0, so that means that we are in this quadrant here. So we can draw what we have here. We basically have some angle theta here, and this is our x and this is our y. We know that r is 2, +2, and we know that x is -1. So since we have a right triangle here, we can use the Pythagorean theorem to figure out what this third side is. So we know that a squared plus b squared equals c squared. A, I'm going to say, is -1, b is our unknown, and c, our hypotenuse, is 2 squared. So we have 1 plus b squared equals 2 squared, which is 4. Subtracting 1 on both sides gives us b squared equals 3. Taking the square root of both sides gives us b is equal to, solving this gives us either positive or negative root 3. but we know that sine theta has to be negative, so we know that this side here is negative root 3. Okay, so that tells us our y, and from that we can now figure out sine theta. So sine theta we know is y over r. Our y is negative root 3, our r is 2. So we can plug in our sine theta here is negative root 3 over 2. And next thing we can figure out is cosecant theta is just the reciprocal of sine theta. So cosecant theta is this flip, so we have negative 2 over root 3. And since we don't like having roots in the bottom of our fraction, what we can do here is just multiply by root 3 over root 3. And because that's just equal to 1, we get negative 2 root 3 on the top over root 3 times root 3 is just 3. So that's our answer for cosecant theta. Negative 2 root 3 over 3. And next we can find out tan theta. And we know that's just y over x, so that's going to be negative root 3 over negative 1 from these values here, and that's just going to be a positive root 3. Put that in here, and so last one we have to figure out is cotangent of theta, and that's just the reciprocal of tangent. So that's going to be x negative 1 over y negative root 3. And again, those negatives cancel out and we're left with 1 over root 3. Again, we don't like having the root at the bottom of the fraction, so I'm going to multiply by root 3 over root 3, or 1. That gives us root 3 on the top, and root 3 times root 3 is just 3 on the bottom. So cotangent is root 3 over 3. And I believe the answer key might have the cotangent theta is negative root 3 over 3, but we can be pretty sure it's positive because it's just the reciprocal of tangent, so it should have the same sign as tangent, which is positive. So these are answers here for all the trig functions of theta to answer question 18.